Welcome everyone and good evening. Welcome to the information session for Buckeye Precollege Summer Institutes. We're so happy that you are here to learn about our new program. We are, not moving forward, there we are. So we are running a webinar this evening. I know we've all been living in the land of virtual meetings for several years now, but as a quick reminder, how the webinar will work this evening. We'll do our best to respond to questions via the QA feature, which is at the bottom of the window. But we may respond to some of your, and feel free to ask questions as we go along. But we may respond to some of your questions with, we'll cover that a bit later in the session since we have a lot planned for you today. And it's always great to pose a question perhaps in the relevant section of that presentation, and we'll do our best to pause at the end of each section and allow for questions that are posted that we didn't get to. So thank you for those of you who registered and posed a question in your registration form. We integrated I think all of the submitted questions in the presentation, either organically or we'll answer the remainder of those at the end of the presentation. As always, if any questions come to mind after today, you can always email us at precollege@osu.edu, and we're happy to assist you and answer any questions you have after tonight. So tonight's agenda is we're going to cover some basics of our pre-college program. We're going to share with you the academic vision that went into creating this program, this brand new program at Ohio State. We'll go into pretty detailed information about the application process, hopefully demystify that and make that a little less intimidating. We'll talk a little bit about costs and aid, the residential student experience, and we'll also, as promised, cover some submitted questions at the end as well. So your hosts for this evening are me. I am Christine Parker. I'm Executive Director of Summer Academic Programs here at Ohio State. I have built and administered pre-college summer programs at other institutions for about the past 15 years, and I'm thrilled to be able to build a new office here at Ohio State to focus on growing these fantastic programs. Sharing presenting duties with me and responding to your questions is my colleague. I'll let her introduce herself.
Hello, everyone. My name is Rachel Tuttle, and I serve as the Assistant Director of Curriculum and Instruction for our Buckeye Pre-College program. So I manage kind of all the components when it comes to the course development and supporting the faculty and students when it comes to the curricular experiences. This is my 11th year at the university, and prior to working in the Office of Academic Affairs, I worked in the College of Engineering and within Education and Human Ecology. We're glad you're here.
Great. Thank you, Rachel. So let's go ahead and get started. The Office of Summer Academic Programs is new here at Ohio State. Our mission is twofold. First, we aim to coordinate information about the fantastic already existing summer academic opportunities for pre-college students on campus and make it easier for students and families to find the right program for them. Second, we aim to create new programs to broaden our offerings, provide more opportunities for pre-college students to engage with Ohio State's rich resources, and incorporate some important aspects of the university's overall mission, which supports accessibility and affordability of education. While over time, we hope to stand up many new offerings, our inaugural program is the Buckeye Precollege Summer Institutes. These are 2-week residential programs that will be offered in 2 sessions this summer in the first and second halves of June. This program is currently open to students in 9th, 10th, or 11th grade who are at least 15 years old at the start of the program. Students will enroll in a single intensive enrichment course while they're participating in the program. Now, this program is not for credit, which distinguishes it from other Ohio State programs currently offered. For those of you in Ohio, you might be familiar with the College Credit Plus program, which allows Ohio residents to take credit-bearing university courses at no cost. The Buckeye Pre-College program is created to be a different kind of offering than College Credit Plus and be open to students from across the US. Some other ways we're different? Well, ours is exclusively a residential program this year, so there'll be no commuter option available. That may change in the future, but for 2023, we'll be a residential program only. The other difference is that our course offerings are completely unique to our program. So I wanted to give you an opportunity to learn a little more about these. Here is our list of courses for this first summer. In all, we're offering 18 courses, 9 per session. And these courses represent just a sampling of the very wide range of disciplines of study available here at Ohio State. We really hope there's something here for everyone. A few of the courses, such as quantum mechanics or personalized medicine, do have slightly higher requirements for admission, such as an honors coursework or specific content knowledge, but the majority have no academic prerequisites at all. So they are meant to be accessible to as many students as possible, regardless of their previous learning opportunities. So you may ask, how did this fantastic set of offerings come together? I'm going to hand it over to Rachel to explain a little bit more about the vision of our academic program and how we came to this set of course offerings. So Rachel, take it away.
Thanks so much. So our courses were created by the faculty. So we did a call out for our faculty and staff at the university for an interest to teach these courses. And so our courses were created specifically for at a college level. And so you would expect a college level rigor, but with the focus on understanding the development and the needs of high school students. And so specifically, we've asked the faculty to really think about incorporating high impact practices, meaning really thinking about how do we do hands-on learning and really best practices that really enhance the learning experience, but also scaffolding the learning. And so really making sure that there's lots of opportunities for feedback for our students as they engage in the material and really start to think at that college level. When looking at the courses and designing the courses, we asked that the instructors focus in again on those high impact practices. So really thinking about more than just lecturing. In fact, lecturing is just one component, but a small component of this experience, these hands-on experiences, labs, going out into the Columbus community, really engaging in the resources within our university campus as well. So really focusing on all the different aspects of learning and all the different ways in which your students are going to be able to learn and engage in the material. We also want to focus on for the students to really start to understand these different experiences and take classes that are different than they can experience in the K through 12 system. And so we encouraged faculty members to propose classes that are a bit more specific than just maybe general courses, again, that you may see in high school, and really start to get a sense of what are the different offerings that we offer at the university, which is really almost anything, but really more specifically into how do you start to see how this subject matter connects with a field later on. In addition, we are expecting, again, the faculty members to regularly be engaging with the students and giving them feedback in the homework assignments and experiences that they'll be doing. And then the last thing is that we did, again, ask about the career exploration we built in. All right. And then when thinking about our instructors, all of our instructors are current Ohio State faculty or staff that, again, have shown interest in working specifically with high school students, but currently have experience teaching undergraduate, graduate, doctoral, and professional students. These are individuals that have a terminal degree in their relevant area of field and have our content experts in the subject matter such they propose these courses. The courses that they are offering are either current courses that they're teaching or subject matters of interest for them specifically. And so they created these courses in order to, again, work in line with those professional interests that they have, but then also, again, meeting the needs of our high school students.
Thank you. So any other questions that pop up about academics, again, feel free to pop those into the Q&A. So next we'll talk about a little bit about the application, do an overview of that. For those of you who may have started an application already, or perhaps haven't done it yet, you'll notice that it's a pretty robust application. And we designed the application this way actually for a reason. Not only does it make better admissions decisions the more we know about you, the applicant, this process is fantastic practice for when you're doing it for real sometime in the next few years. As with anything, you just get more comfortable and better at something, the more chances you have to do it. So hopefully this process, if you go through with it, will prepare you well for that day in the future when you start applying to colleges and universities as a senior. So to start, as always, I'd like to emphasize, the best way to start is little due diligence and a bit of research before beginning. We provided a lot of detailed information on our website about both our program and the application process. So we encourage any applicant to start this whole process by reading the information on the website, particularly the apply, courses, and FAQ pages. To also facilitate preparing the application, we've created a quick start guide to the application. This is a PDF document that's downloadable from the apply page. So if you're on the apply page and you scroll down to the bottom half where there's a section on application tips, all the way at the bottom, there is a link here. It says Buckeye Precollege Summer Institute's Application Quick Start Guide. That is a downloadable file. You can pull that right off the website for your own use or share with others who may be interested. So we hope that's helpful for you. So when you're ready to apply, you've done all that research, decide what you're excited about, go to the application deadline section of the apply page and click the red Apply Here button. This button will take you to the initial registration page, but also serve as a link to the application portal at any time after you've created an account. Once you get to that initial login page, you're going to, it's very simple. It's all it's going to do is ask for an email, which is the student's email, and a password. The first time you come in, you're going to click right down here where it says don't have an account, register. And once you do that, easy peasy. The next time you come through that link, you'll be taken to a dashboard or landing page where you can work on your application at any time by clicking on this red button. So very simple kind of to get started. So once you have access to the application, the left side of the navigation panel is going to show all the sections of the application. So we're going to run through these briefly so that you're going to know what you need to prepare to fill in for the application. So the first part, application personal data, straightforward stuff, your name, your date of birth, gender. Citizenship is a question we ask. Buckeye Precollege for summer 2023 is only open to US citizens, permanent residents, and students with DACA status. We hope that in the near future, we'll be able to welcome international students to our programs as well, but for this year, it will be for US students only. Applicant contact data, things like addresses, phone number, email. One note about this is that the email should be different from the parent email, which is in the family information section. So we need the contact information of at least one parent or guardian, address, email, phone number. The alumni status we ask about is just for internal purposes. It has nothing to do with the application process. We don't give preference to alumni for anyone who's curious about how we use that information. But yes, the information or any information about the application process. So confirmation emails, notification emails, reminder emails, all of those will go to both the student email as well as the parent guardian email. So we keep parents in the loop throughout the entire process. All right. So academic data is the next section. This includes information about your school, your grades, your grade point average. For students who have done other kinds of summer academic activities, there's an opportunity to enter information about those. But if you haven't participated in other summer programs before, you can totally leave that part blank. If you haven't had the opportunity to do that, it won't count against you at all in the application process. You will need to have an official and unofficial grade report or transcript ready to upload to the application. If your school has an online portal such as PowerSchool, it allows you usually to download an unofficial grade report. So you just take the most recent one available and add that to your application. If all you have is a paper report card, that's fine too. You can scan it or even just take a picture of it. And as long as it's legible, it's fine with us. Lastly, there is an optional section that allows you to add standardized test scores. Standardized test scores are optional for undergraduate admissions at Ohio State. They are optional here as well. So, but if you have SAT, ACT, AP, or IB tests, you can enter that information here. If you don't have them, don't worry about it. As with the summer programs question, it will not count against you if you don't have standardized test scores to share here. Next section is course preferences. So on this page, you'll be asked to select at least one, but up to 3 courses that you would like to be considered for, and you'll be entering them in order from your first choice to your last choice. Only enter courses that you actually want to attend. So if that's 1 course, that's fine, just enter 1 course. If it's 3, go ahead and put all 3 in there. But I will say for those applicants who apply later in the process, so as seats start to fill up in the program, sometimes it is helpful actually to enter more than 1 course in the event that a particular course is closed before your application is reviewed. That way we have many more opportunities to find a great fit for you when the space is a little bit more limited later in the process. All right. Next section is the application questions. So one of the most important parts of the application is actually these short answer questions that allow applicants to tell us about your interest in the program and your interest in the specific courses that you applied to. One of the questions submitted in advance of the session today was, what kind of student is this program targeted to? The way we're talking about or describing our ideal student is academically ambitious and intellectually curious. So motivation, interest, enthusiasm, curiosity, these are the things that we want our students to bring to the table. With an enrichment program, there's a certain expectation of kind of self-motivation to come in and dig in and learn cool new things. So that interest piece is really important. And that's why we ask the questions we do to talk about your interests in the academic space. In this section, we also want students or caution students to address your interest in all of your course preferences, not just your top choice. If you can't write even 2 sentences about why you're interested in a course, we might not admit you to it. So make sure that you kind of just explain why you put all the courses that you have on your application. Also confirm whether you fulfilled any prerequisites, if there are any, that you need to fulfill. And we can't always tell from the transcript if you fulfill a course level prerequisite. So it's super helpful if you define, oh, I learned trigonometry in this course, or I learned geometry in this course, and then we can confirm that. All right, so the program data section, it's really important also. Everything seems important, I know, but this has 2 really important parts of the application. One is the teacher recommendation form. And then there's also an optional question that allows you to access the scholarship request form. So let's go a little bit more into detail in both of these really important components. So the teacher recommendation, your application will not be considered complete until at least one recommendation form from a teacher is received by us. So we counsel applicants to submit the teacher recommendation request as far ahead as possible to allow as much time for your teacher to respond. Trust me, teachers will love you and really appreciate it if you don't come to them at the last minute for these kinds of requests. And you will likely benefit as the applicant from giving them more time to kind of consider a thoughtful response. We recommend that you ask a teacher or counselor who knows you well. Teachers are better just because they can speak to your academic aptitude, but and choose a teacher whose subject matter expertise aligns with the course content area. So if you're interested in a biology course, ask your biology teacher or another science teacher. Similarly, if you're interested in a sociology or a sociolinguistics course, that's kind of writing intensive, so maybe go to your English teacher. Before you send the request, it's a really good idea to contact them in advance to let them know you're sending the request and talk to them about your interest in the program and the courses you're applying to. Again, that helps inform their response to our questions. All you need to fill out the request form to send the invitation to your teacher is to put in their name and a school or work email address. That's it, very simple. And you can update or add a recommender or resend the invitation, which sometimes gets stuck in spam filters after your application is submitted if you need to through the application portal. So it's not when you submit, all of a sudden it's closed. You actually can go in and access that if you need to. Because we know sometimes this is the one part of the application since you can't control when it comes in, we want to give you as much control over that part of the process as possible. So that's everything about the teacher recommendation. Now the other part on that program data page again is the scholarship request form. So the scholarship request form is optional. If you choose to apply for aid though, it must be submitted at the same time as the rest of the application. This just keeps everything together so we have all the student information in the same place and we don't lose anything. For that application, it'll ask a number of different questions. This is the part of the application where it's absolutely 100% totally fine for a family member, parent, guardian to help with this part of the application because sometimes the student doesn't know all of the information. Be ready to upload 2 years worth of tax returns or some other documentation of income. And this could just be the front and back of a 1040 or other basic tax form. As long as it shows adjusted gross income, that works for us. So you don't have to have, if you have lots of different schedule documents, you don't have to worry about anything like that. But please know, and this is one of the biggest, most important things I always want to stress, is that applying for financial assistance does not in any way impact your admissions decision. I know from past experience that sometimes students will be afraid to apply for aid because they're worried they won't be admitted or they'll be lower priority. The application process for the academic portion of the program is completely separate from the scholarship awarding process. So if you want or need or might need a scholarship, please apply. There is no harm in doing so. And in fact, it's better if you do than not, because that information then will be there if we need it. There's no specific income cutoff or any other limit, but we do have a limited pool of aid, and it's just going to be distributed on a first come, first serve basis based primarily on financial need. So to be clear, how do you do this? So at the bottom of the program data page, there's this section called scholarship request. And so would you like to submit a scholarship request form? Answer yes, because otherwise you won't see the application form. observe, this is what the left nav looks like under normal circumstances. But once you select yes on that scholarship for that scholarship request question, then the left nav will appear slightly like magic. A scholarship request form will show up, and then you can access that at any time. All right. Last few pieces for the application fee or waiver. So after you've reviewed all the information you've entered into the application and are about ready to submit, the last component is this application fee. This can be done by clicking the enter payment details button, and that will take you to the payment portal, which accepts all major credit cards. If you would like to request a fee waiver, you're like, $50, I don't know about that. Simply email us. All you have to do is email us, and any member of our team can waive the fee within your application as long as you have one. And the next time you refresh that page, the messaging on that page will change and it'll say your fee waiver has been accepted, and then you are ready to submit your application. All right. So how applications are reviewed, just a little insight into our process here. So applications are reviewed holistically. So it takes into account all of the parts of the application, but particularly your academic background, your interest, your curiosity, enthusiasm for learning something new that you articulate with those short answer questions. All that stuff is taken into account. As previously mentioned, again, be sure to pay attention to any course-specific prerequisites. When a student is offered admission, they're offered admission into the highest course preference for which they're qualified and where space is available. So often in the earliest round, lots of space available, lots of first choices. Later on, it might be a second or third choice if space becomes limited in some courses. I will say that if you're admitted, you're enrolled into one intensive course in a single session, but there is an option, depending on space, for students to attend both sessions. And there's a question on the course preferences page that allows you to indicate if you're interested in attending more than once. You can answer that question and we'll let you know if that becomes possible. With much of the challenge of doing something the first time is we're not sure if 100 people will apply or 1,000 people will apply. So we want to make sure we're flexible about how we're allowing students to participate in the program. Great. So here's a quick rundown of our application deadlines. We've kind of portioned them out a little bit, again, just to make sure that we give students different opportunities to get connected to us. And many programs at other colleges and universities start their process very, very early. So this is a timeline that's very in line with sort of the national timelines for folks who run programs such as us. Early deadline is February 1st. Regular deadline, March 1st. The notification of admission will come about a month after each of those. And if space remains, we'll have a late application deadline so we'll accept applications through March 15th. And note that if you request aid, those aid rewards will be sent at the same time as the admissions offers, so that you have all the information you need to make a decision about coming to the program or not if offered admission. So quick recap to clarify, a complete application is three things. A submitted application form, the payment of the application fee or a fee waiver, and then the receipt of the recommendation from the teacher. So only applications that are complete by the deadline will be reviewed in that round. And often, again, the laggard is that teacher recommendation. So then get that recommendation request in early and make sure the teacher knows the deadline so that they can get that in time, turned in time for you. So the application components, most of it's required. Personal information, academic information, transcript, course preferences, short answer questions, the application fee and teacher recommendation. There's optional components again, standardized test scores, and scholarship request form. So if you're offered admission, okay, what's next? Well, costs. The cost of the Buckeye Precollege program for summer 2023 is $3,900 for the 2-week residential program. This is the median, so this might be a shock, or this might be more expensive than other programs that run on campus, but this is actually the median cost of a 2-week residential program compared to other universities that offer similar programs. It's any consolation, the exact same program at Michigan is $6,000. So I think we have a pretty good price tag for our programs this year to get us started. So this is an all-inclusive fee. It covers housing, dining, all the course and educational materials, all program activities, including the weekend excursions. So it's one charge for absolutely everything. Applications who are offered admission have to officially accept. So we'll say, would you like to come? We're offering you this course. And there's a step where you have to formally accept that offer of admission. And once you do so, you pay a non-refundable $500 deposit within a week of being notified of that admissions decision. So that holds the spot in class. And then the balance of the program fee, which is $3,900 minus the deposit, and then minus any aid award, is then due within the next few weeks. And so if we have everyone pay ahead of time, it's the way that we make sure that our program can get filled and we know how many people are coming. But we also understand that sometimes plans change and emergencies happen. So if for any reason you need to change plans after paying the bill, we do provide some partial refunds on a sliding scale based on the date of the refund request. So we recommend you review the cost and refund information on our website for complete details and dates about how that works. Another question submitted was whether there's a discount available for Ohio State employees. Unfortunately, for this summer, there are no discounts available for employees. The scholarship funds that we have are available, distributed only on the basis of financial need. However, we very much hope to be able to provide an employee benefit in the coming years once we get our program built and we start to grow. All right. So need-based aid available, need-based aid available, it's available. We want to encourage any student who is interested in our programs to apply. And no strict income cutoffs. How much aid we're able to offer really depends on a number of factors, including how many people apply. But in any case, our funding pool is limited, and we recommend that those planning to request aid apply in the early round. That's when the most seats are available, all of them, and the maximum amount of funds is available. Later in the process, those funds are going to gradually become depleted, so it's always best to act early to get at the front of that line. So that's it for the admissions overview. Any final questions? All right, well, we're making good time. Let's go ahead and move into a few words about the residential experience. So say a student comes to our program and is excited about that experience, what does that look like? All right, so as noted, we have two-week sessions of the program. And on arrival day for each session, we're going to hold a student and parent orientation session. For parents who are not able to join us in person, we'll offer an online version in the week leading up to the program, so you have the same information that the folks who come to campus to drop their child off will have. In this orientation session, we'll welcome you to campus, introduce our staff, and cover the general rules of the program. Participants will then be broken up into their smaller cohort groups and be taken on a campus tour by the residential staff and start their experience right away. Participants will live in an Ohio State residence hall and be placed by gender, age, and subject area so that participants with similar interests are kind of housed near each other. Our program is quite short, but we want to be very thoughtful about how can we create a residential learning community and make those connections between participants happen as soon as possible. So this is one of the ways that we do that, is kind of deliberately housing students together, especially by subject area and age. In the residential space, our participants will be overseen by Buckeye College residential counselors. They will serve as both residential and academic mentors for our participants. These are primarily undergraduate students, some graduate students from Ohio State. One question that comes up a lot is, how do you keep my child safe in our program? So we really, the safety of our participants is always of paramount importance. And I think Ohio State generally does a fantastic job in running youth programs that are safe, keep everybody safe and healthy for the program. So when participants are in our program, the majority of time is spent in structured course or social activities. It's a very intensive program. We have our sample program schedule on our website, and we invite you to take a look at that if you haven't seen it on the Summer Institute's page. So it's a very intensive program. We try to pack a lot of both fun and learning into the experience. So many structured course opportunities, structured activities to keep students together and working with staff. Our program staff will supervise all of our off-campus excursions. So in both the evenings and on one of the weekend days, we will do a number of local excursions, and that may be everything from a Clippers game, a crew game, going hiking at Christmas Rocks, or going to the Arts Fest, which will be that first weekend in the first session of the program. Lots of opportunities to get out and about in the community. So they will be supporting students off campus, so we get a chance to see the environs around Columbus. And those staff, again, they're provided with a really robust training leading up to the program. And so they're ready to assist with a wide range of needs that arise during the program for our students. One of the questions also submitted was about how will we manage students, or how are we managing COVID if it continues to have a presence this summer. I'll say that at this time, there's no vaccine requirement in place for Ohio State for those participating in youth programs like this. So that's will be updated in the spring if need be, but currently there's no plan. There is no vaccine requirement for participants in these kinds of programs. But as we think about COVID not just being by itself, but also just being part of the other ways that a participant might become ill or have an injury like a sprained ankle, our staff will always coordinate with families if a participant tests positive, and we'll work with our campus partners who have a lot of experience in this space, as well as local medical professionals to respond according to best practices and always keep families in the loop as we move forward. So that is the end of residential space, kind of information and campus safety. I'll turn it over to Rachel to say a few more words about the additional programming offered outside of the course classrooms that really we feel like is really going to enrich the experience for our students. Rachel.
Thank you so much. So we have put together, or we're currently putting together, some co-curricular experiences for our students as they're participating in the program. The first program we want to highlight is our college success workshops. And so these workshops will take place most days during the week. And so towards the end of the day before dinner, we're going to focus really on that college student transition. So really thinking about how do we demystify the college experience, really think about what does it mean to be a college student, normalize the awkwardness and the wonderfulness of being a learner, the common struggles of a college student, and really helping the students start to navigate how to be successful in the college setting. One of the things we plan to talk about is the college admissions process and really creating some clarity around that admissions process, how to start to prepare for that process, and where they are at that point, especially for our rising seniors that can literally that summer start to apply to different universities and really get a head start on that process. Really thinking about motivation, academic success, time management strategies, and helping our students navigate being an independent learner, and what does it mean to learn in a college environment versus high school, and how to really be successful from high school to college. Focusing on navigating academic success resources and really shifting your mind and what it means to be an interdependent learner, which is really important to be successful in college, meaning utilizing resources, talking to faculty, utilizing your peers, doing study groups, taking advantage of tutoring, and starting to understand what that looks like in a college setting, and how to start to utilize those resources in high school so you're ready when you're in college. Really thinking about how to engage within a residential community, seeing what it means to be involved both in the classrooms but outside the classrooms, and thinking about mental health, well-being, thinking about how to learn, metacognition, kind of all those things, again, to start to normalize what that college student experience is, and really helping create some clarity around that process. And we can move on to the next thing. So the next thing is we really want to highlight and explore our beautiful Columbus community, as well as the campus community as a whole. Being a college student is this holistic experience where you're learning in the classroom, but you're learning outside of the classroom. And so we want our high school students to have that same experience. And so we will engage them and give them opportunities to participate and engage in activities within the residence hall that are put on by our residential counselors, go explore the city, participate in or attend sporting events, cultural events, arts events, really get to see our city and our parks, go to performances. I know during one of the weekends, it's literally one of my favorite weekends, we have the art festival, which is just this really dynamic event that actually happens in this picture. It happens along the bridge. And so it's a way for our students to really see kind of how Columbus, which is one of the largest cities in the country, really supports this really neat academic experience, and how they can fit into both the Columbus community, but also their academic experience as well.
Yeah, for sure. So when we think about creating a program like this, we want to think about not just the academic development of our students, but that social and emotional growth as well. Providing opportunities to socialize, which coming out of the pandemic has been kind of challenging sometimes to start making connections with others. So thinking about ways we can structure fun activities and have the participants also weigh in on what they'd like to do and try to create opportunities, excursions around their interests as well, to just make those connections between students that much stronger. So really excited about that part of the program. So in the end, the big question is why? Why come to Buckeye Precollege Summer Institutes? I think there's a lot of benefits to attending a residential program like this. And I've been doing this for many years, and I've been doing it before the pandemic and even during the pandemic, and seeing what kind of benefits accrue to participants in programs like this. First off, and certainly the way you may have noticed that this program is structured to be kind of academically rigorous, and we're looking for opportunities, we're creating opportunities. So we're creating an environment and opportunities for students to engage with each other in an intellectual and kind of academic way. So then they're going to be able to do that both inside the classroom, but outside of the classroom with residential programming that we're doing with our learning communities in the residence hall, with the courses will be enhanced with things like field trips and guest speakers, right? So really trying to have those great conversations that start in the classroom, continue in the dining hall, continue in the residence hall. You know, that's the kind of environment we're looking to create in our 2 weeks together. Second, participants have this opportunity to develop independence and self-management in a college-like environment, but we're not leaving them to figure it out on their own, right? The opportunity here is that they can do it under the really close guidance of dedicated staff who understand their needs and are going to help them be successful in the program. And it's really great practice for the future when they don't have those training wheels when they get to college in quite the same way. They'll still have lots of support, but here we're really building a lot of these things into the program so that everyone takes advantage of them. Third, participants will contribute actively, as mentioned, to the creation of this learning community in their residence hall. We really want them we're going to set the expectation that we want them, this is not a hotel, but we want them to think about this as their home away from home for a few weeks. And these are their neighbors, and they want to come together in these small micro communities and figure out how they're going to live together for a few weeks. So they'll learn not only about the topic of interest in their course, but they'll also learn about college admissions, campus culture, other aspects of collegiate life. So again, that kind of social aspect needs to be as accessible as the classroom experience for true college success. All these components are really important. Lastly, then, they're also going to benefit from mentorship by our current undergraduate and graduate students who, particularly in the case of our undergraduate counselors, they were in the participant's shoes not that long ago, and they can really serve as really fantastic mentors. What is it like to be a Buckeye? What is it like to be here? Those are the kinds of things that near peer support can really provide access and insight for our younger learners who are interested in perhaps OSU and perhaps not. I will say that the program is not designed to be a pipeline just into Ohio State. It's fantastic when students are already looking to Ohio State as one of the schools they're really interested in. But for me, I like to look at the bigger picture of what is it that students are interested in learning about, and there's so many choices in front of them. How can we give them some really great information to help them make better choices for their future? And that might be to come to Ohio State or to go to a smaller school. Maybe an urban institution or very large school isn't a great fit. This is the opportunity for them to have that real experience and say, hey, maybe I need a smaller community to really feel at home. Similarly, when it comes to a course, many students come in like, I really want to be an engineer. When they finally really deeply engage in that content, they're like, wow, I don't think this is what I thought it was. Maybe I need to keep looking and find something that might be a better fit for me. Or if you took a look again at those courses, there are things in their sociolinguistics. These students have no opportunities to learn about that in high school, and they might find a brand new thing they've never heard of that really lights a fire. So the idea of exposure, of more experience, of more ideas, of meeting more people under kind of a carefully crafted program is really what we're looking to create here for students, the kind of experience we're trying to craft for them. So that is it. That is the end of the program overview. I just have a few final questions that were submitted earlier on, again, that we weren't able to really fold into the presentation, but I want to hit those before we go. So a few questions. Can I participate as a commuter student? So this year only, mostly for logistical reasons, we're offering only the residential program. So if for those of you who might live in the immediate Ohio area, Columbus area, I invite you to check out on our website. If you go under other pre-college programs, there is a page that has a list of other Ohio State programs, many of which are day programs. So there's lots of other options on campus if a residential program is not a good fit. Similarly, the College Credit Plus program is also an option for Ohio students. Again, it is a non-residential program, but it's another kind of program option. Hopefully in the future, we'll be able to run residential programs that have a commuter option, but for this first year, we're just keeping it kind of simple. But I also know that, again, the residential experience is so valuable in and of itself, and it really yields much stronger student engagement. At my previous institution, I'd say maybe 95% of the students participated in the residential program, and maybe 5% participated as commuter students. And without fail, the students who commuted wished they were in residence because they felt like they were missing out on all of the socialization and kind of student fun that was happening. They just didn't get to make the same kind of connections that the residential students did. Okay, how many students are accepted? Well, the program is designed to have about 350 spots total across the 2 sessions, across those 18 courses. And the classes range in size from 15 at the smallest to about 30. And these are capped by both logistical considerations, like a bio lab may only have a set number of bench seats, right? So we can only have 24 students in that lab. But there's also pedagogical concerns, and some of the smaller classes really require more individual attention. So a really writing intensive course, if you want to do writing workshops and things, you really don't want to have more than 15 students in a really writing intensive course. And so the class sizes will range depending on those factors. How competitive is admissions? Gosh, we don't know. But competitiveness of admissions, because of the way we admit students into specific courses, is going to depend on both the number of applications we receive and on how many applicants list a particular course as their first choice. So I suspect if the students interested in our programs are anything like students who participated in other programs I've run, bioscience and engineering tend to be very popular and have more applications. Sometimes the humanities courses have fewer applicants and therefore are less competitive in that way. But again, it's hard to say exactly, but just know it does vary from course to course. Will participants have access to gyms? Yes, we will provide guest passes to gym facilities to any participant who requests them. And in some cases, because our participants are under the age of 18, depending on the facility, we will make sure that if they need to be supervised by staff, that we have staff go with them. But sometimes we'll have something as simple as, like, there's some people who like to run at 6 o'clock in the morning. We just need to find a staffer who's got good cardiovascular health to run with the students if they'd like to have someone go with them. But yeah, we'll make that available to students for sure. This was a new one for me. Can 529 savings plans be used to pay for Buckeye Precollege? I will say that these plans can sometimes be used for some costs associated with summer and pre-college programs, but what is considered a qualified educational expense can vary from state to state, as well as the program, like based on the program structure itself. So I sort of punt on this one to say it's always recommended that you ask your task professional or the institution that holds the account, whether it's TIAA or Fidelity or whatnot, to understand if our program, given the sort of parameters we've described, would be considered a qualified educational expense. And if not, if you used those funds, what would be your tax implications of withdrawing from that account if the expense wasn't qualified? So just, yeah, I can't answer that question for you, but it's a good one and certainly something we want to think about moving forward. Similarly, I had a question about some other kinds of savings accounts and trying to find some good options here. I'll continue to do research, but yeah, always good to go to your provider to ask those questions. All right, well, that is absolutely it for this evening. I want to thank everyone who joined us tonight to learn more about the program. As mentioned, thank you, Rachel, for your insights into the academic programs, and I'm so excited to see what Rachel puts together with our fantastic team. If you have any questions about the program at any time, again, don't hesitate to reach out to us at precollege@osu.edu. We are more than happy to help you with any aspects of our programs.